light RTM molds or to make attempts at it. Both of these molds are from two different fabricators, and this represents their first attempt at light RTM molds. They made some very functional light RTM molds. This mold, you can see the part over there, it's a bait board mold, heavily configured, almost too heavily configured. A very difficult part to spray gel coater with. The gel coater was tearing its hair out the other day. This large part here is a caravan canopy side door. It has two large aluminum brackets in it. These hubs you see here have silicone rubber stops for the attachment points for the pieces. Some of these are still in experimental stage, but the point was that a lot of people are afraid to attempt building light RTM. There's plenty of help for everyone from the supply side as far as getting the help you need to be able to fabricate the tooling. The tooling's the first part of the secret to light RTM, and the second part of the secret is being able to put together the right marriage of materials that you need to achieve your end result requirements. Cosmetics are one of the most difficult things to achieve, and you have to be very careful and experiment quite a bit. As far as surface finish, more and more consumers are aware of they want the bright, shiny, mirror image Class A surface, and your material choice comes into play heavily there. There's two main types of hardware. The hardware you see on all of these molds are representative of RTM North. There's also Plastech. Both systems work. We have a cavity here for clamping where we're pulling down a full bar vacuum in the internal cavity. It's low pressure pumping. We're only pulling a half a bar of vacuum on there to assist resin flow. And this large part here will probably take about 6 minutes to inject, 7 minutes, and then we're looking at about probably 2 to 3 minutes for it to finish pulling in up into the catchment pond. Okay? GlasCraft today is assisting us. We need injection equipment when you're talking about doing true light RTM. A lot of smaller fabricators that want to wait and prove that they can build good tools, make good parts. A lot of the time small fabricators can get up and running, make much higher quality parts, get rid of all the repair and rework, have consistent part number 1 is going to be the same as part number 500. You can actually infuse, prove the system, let your first couple of jobs pay for bumping up to equipment. This is about the largest you'd want to do, even with the 2 injection ports, to just infuse, because you've got such a large mass to move. You will have problems. You'll have to pull a higher vacuum internally too to infuse this rather than with the assistance of injection. But it's a great way to get started, prove you can build the tooling correct, bring and compare the parts you're currently supplying to your end user with closed molding. We can have gel coat on both sides. These counter V molds have clear gel coat surfaces on them. You will be able to see the resin infuse into the molds. We gelled these early this morning. It's white gel coat. We have a white pigmented laminating resin. It's not filled. It's just white and pigmented, so it's a little more difficult to see. So the raw backside, if you don't have requirements for gelling, you can still make a much more manufactured look part by having a really nice finished raw backside of a part, especially if you're doing doors that open up, etc. And it's a very low cost. All you've got to add is typically 2 to 3% by weight of a pigment concentrate to your laminating resin, and you get a stellar effect on the backside. Other than that, any questions? Alright, we'll infuse this one first, and then a little bit later we'll infuse, inject the bait board mold. Malcolm, want to talk about
the piece of equipment we're using today is our top-of-the-line programmable system. People wanting to do bigger parts, this one's ideal. It has a programmable catalyst system, so we can start from, say, this part here if we chose to, 1%, and finish it at 2.5, so your curing rate's going to be even all the way through. But this, all our systems come with a recirculation head. We don't not have recirculation heads. We recirculate the material right to here and all the way back. We don't have on the side of we don't have our line as long as we like. We like to take the head to the jobs, so we can eliminate some wastage and things like that as well. This machine here is got also a radio frequency identification tags on it. So if you've got, say, 1,000 molds in your shop, like some big places do, and we can identify between each one and scan that tag, and the memory is kept on the tag, not in the computer. So the onus is taken away from the actual operators and put back into the machine, and it knows what catalyst percentage and what resin quantity into each mold. That makes it a little bit easier. I think we'll start away, Larry, and yeah,
you're good. Press the button.
This machine also has 2 start points. All our machines have 2 start points. You've got injection here, where you can actually start and stop the machine from manually. If you get to the stage where at the end of the mold where you've just run a bit short when you're first experimenting and trialing, it also has a manual button which we can just touch and top up just a little bit. So our material will start flowing. Sure, it's not very often everybody see fiberglassing done in a 5-star resort. It's a new experience for me, I can tell you. These 2 moulds here are both customers of mine, and they are production moulds. They're not moulds we've made for you guys today to, make it work. These guys build them.
So at this point, it's kind of like watching grass grow. Be about 6 minutes to fill this cavity.
Being a white pigmented resin, you can't see it real well to see the travel. Yeah. When it's a normal blue or a darker resin, you can see the travel of the resin quite easily.
A lot of people think you need to have a clear gel coat on the counter mold so you can see it fill and whatnot, but often you're gel coating both sides. You're not going to see it anyway. It's a moot point. Once you know how much to fill the cavity, it's really a moot point. If you build a successful mold, it's going to fill exactly the same time and time again. This looks like a really easy shape and not a complex part, but you'll find that rectangles can be some of your most difficult parts to fill correctly without having some air entrapment down here, because you'll see the resin will come together and the air channel will be in a line, and it's all got to pull in at the very end. So a simple shape like this can be really difficult. There are a lot of people in Australia now. They're doing some very, very complex profiles that are very complex, difficult to load. But when you get into those scenarios, you really want to be custom molding your own urethane foam core structures. People think, well, I can go to Lite RTM and I can have a trained monkey load the mold. That's really not true. You still need to have an operator that is going to take great care, especially when you have heavily configured molds. Multiple ply stacks to load, where you'd be having templates to make sure you're putting in timber, aluminum, any insert materials, and make sure they're positioned properly, because if they're not, you're not going to make a good part. Nothing wrong with the mold, it's how it was loaded. Resin doesn't think. It's like water trickling down the mountainside. It will find the path of least resistance, and when it does, it'll speed up in that location, and if it hits an obstruction, it's going to slow down and go around, and that's when you can get into issues and troubles with your tool correctly filling. So you do need to take great care in loading the molds, but you will get consistency. This part we know takes 89 strokes on this piece of equipment. The part weight is going to be consistently within a matter of grams from day to day to day. take a real hard look at the equipment later on after this gels, etc. These injection ports are really unique. With other types of hardware, you'll go into the facility and they'll have an air drill and actually have to drill out the injection ports. These will pull out clean and no problem.